Hey Plant Power Woman group, I'm vegan coach Naomi coming to you from the Plant Power Woman Show, the weekly Wednesday live stream. If you don't know me, I'm vegan coach Naomi. I am a certified vegan lifestyle coach and plant-based weight loss coach, and I run this group for you to adopt or sustain a whole food plant-based no oil way of eating for serious weight loss and measurable health benefits. That's what we're here for. So let me know if you can hear me or see me. Let me know you can see me okay. Give me the hearts and likes so I know that everything is working well. Tonight we are going to be doing kind of a scientific kind of live stream. I'm going to be talking about whether or not every bite you eat is actually healing you or harming you, right? And we're going to take a little travel through the body, the way the food goes through your body, and we're going to see how it heals, regulates, and reverses chronic disease, or how it is causing dysregulation and causing chronic disease. So, hi Joy, nice to see you. Susan, wonderful, so happy to see you here. Everybody let me know if you are a first-time listener or if you have been in the group for a while. I love to meet all the new people in the group. Hi Gail, nice to see you here. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow the path of food to see what the effects are on the inside of your body depending on what you eat, to determine if what you're eating is healing you or harming you, and how you can get on the side of the healing. Right? Who wants to keep eating the foods that's harming you? Let me know if you want to eat the foods that heal you or harm you, right? Heal or harm in the comments. I want to see. Because I'm pretty sure that most of you are just not realizing every bite you're taking that's actually harming you or healing you. That's it. It's one or the other. Hey Susan, nice to see you. Sherry, wonderful. Diane, she says healing. Yes, heal, heal, heal. That's what we're doing. Susan, you are doing so well with your plant-based lifestyle. I'm so happy about it. Cheryl, nice to meet you. First time listening. Okay, wonderful. So, does every bit you're eating heal you or harm you? Let's follow the path of the food and see what the effects are depending on what you eat. Let's go. All right? So, Martha says she's already healing. Yes, you are. Wonderful. Yes. And that was pretty quick, Martha. Are you on like week 5 working with me or what? Yeah. Okay, so the first thing that happens when we eat is that our senses are triggered, okay? So when we eat fast food, junk food, animal food diet, the standard American diet, we are specifically being triggered by chemical smells that are created by the fast food, junk food industries. So imagine like what it smells like in a restaurant that you think smells delicious. That's all just fake. It's created by the fast food, junk food industries to purposely have you gobbling the food, grabbing for more, and not really caring what it is or who it is, as long as it was easy and it's satisfying, your emotional needs at the moment, right? But when we take the time to plan, shop, prepare, and put together our meals, we can appreciate what it is doing for us, which is what we're going to go through next. Martha, let me know if that's true. Did I just say something that's true? When we take the time to plan, shop, prepare, and put together meals, we can appreciate, and we purposely want to tell ourselves to appreciate what it is doing for us. So we look at what we've prepared and we're like, oh my God, I'm eating the rainbow, or oh my God, that looks so good. Like, what do you guys think when you look at my recipes and you look at the food that I'm showing you guys? You're like, oh my God, that looks so good. That's the first trigger that you're healing, right? The second one is the smell of you cooking it. The real foods with the herbs and spices, and you're cooking it, so you're smelling it. And you're telling yourself, I'm doing this for myself. Susan says, yum. Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing that happens. We see it, we smell it, and we either just start gobbling, or we stop and are in awe of how beautiful it is, how we appreciate what it's going to do for us. Okay, that is the most powerful form of self-care. If you've been obese and chronically ill, or having trouble maintaining your weight, or all kinds of other chronic conditions, it is the first most powerful form of healing that you can just go in your kitchen right now and do. Okay? All right, second thing, healing. Joy says she loves my recipes. Susan says my recipes are amazing and tantalizing. Thank you. I try, and we test these recipes in the Plant Power Preppers Club, which is my plant-based cooking club. Okay, so the next thing that happens, we smell it, we saw it, we were in awe of it, we're excited to eat it. We're ready, right? Our salivary glands are stimulated in a good way. Taste buds, okay? So tasting, over time, our taste buds can reset themselves to normal thresholds of natural foods, to where the animal foods feel tough and gross. Some of you who have been doing this for a while, let me know if I'm speaking the truth here. The animal foods feel tough and gross. The oils feel slimy, and you're like, ooh, that is oily. And Skittles and donuts are so sweet, they taste like poison. And even the same goes for alcohol when we haven't had it for a while. But an apple on a hike is sublime. This is the beginning of the healing and recovery. And this is what my clients will say when they are loving what they're eating. Martha, that's you. This happened to you. It takes just a few short weeks, and sometimes within the first meal, someone will say, wow, that was amazing, and I didn't even miss the cheese or meat. This is when everything I want is good for me, and everything that's good for me is what I want. Now, when you're eating the standard American diet or a junk food, fast food, animal food diet, your taste buds are being tricked by the high degree of sugar, salt, fat, and food chemicals that make it taste even tastier. So your threshold for what tastes good is like way up here, and an apple is way down here. So that's what's happening when you're eating junk food and fast food. You are just deadening your taste buds so that you can't even feel good and taste good when you eat an apple or watermelon or normal things. All right, let's see what people are saying. Martha said she used to hate fruit, and what's happening now, Martha? This is healing. This is the beginning of healing. Karen from Texas, nice to see you here. Susan said they change. I learned it yesterday. Yeah, I think she ordered something and didn't realize it had oil in it, and she was like, blah, blah, right? Aloha, Sandra, nice to see you. Nice to see you here. All right, so the taste buds, they can heal. And when we're eating junk foods and animal foods, they are just dead. They're just dead. Okay, and that's like, that's the adjustment phase to where maybe a lot of my clients are like, wow, that was amazing. But a lot of times they're like, ooh, I'm not sure if I like that, or oh, like they just don't know in the very beginning. And then as soon as the taste buds start to change and they remember fruit that they used to love, or they remember things, that's the beginning of the healing. And your taste buds will reset themselves, and it happens so quickly. That's what I want you to know. Okay, so let's get more scientific. Let's get more serious. This is going to be science over here of the digestive tract. Who's ready for a journey in the digestive tract? Let me know. Now the food is going down. It's hitting your stomach. So once the food hits your stomach, a lot is going on. Okay? With the standard American diet, or even a vegan junk food diet, of constant mindless overeating, stomach acid is on high alert to break down all the chemicals and the complex combinations of crap you got going on in there. And this is what is causing heartburn issues, stomach pains, gas, and bloating of all kinds, all this stuff. And this is when the stretch receptors and your own personal caloric calculator are thrown offline completely by all the artificial sweeteners. So two things throw off these stretch receptors and caloric calculators that are your innate appetite regulation system. One is artificial sweeteners that make the food have bulk, but it has no calories, right? And on the other end of the spectrum are the highly caloric oils, the most calorie dense food substance is oil, that have very little bulk, but contain a whole day's worth of calories. So your innate appetite regulation system cannot figure this out, okay? But when you eat the low-fat, whole food, plant-based, no oil meals, they allow this regulation to come back online because your body has its own system for regulating your appetite. It knows how much you've eaten, it knows how much you chewed, it knows how much stomach acid, it stretches and feels the food in there, right? It knows how many calories you already ate, how many you need, it knows your activity level. And it knows how to calculate these natural foods, but it does not know how to calculate the animal foods and the man-made processed foods. So, did you realize that? Did you realize that that's what Diet Coke is doing to you, and that's what stevia is doing to you, and that's what eating oil is doing to you? It's wrecking your innate appetite regulation system. Okay? Now, also, there's more. There's so much more. It's very complicated. This is just going to be like an overview-ish kind of a thing. The cells lining your stomach and your small intestine, they make and they release hormones that control how well your digestive system works. So these hormones tell your body when to make digestive juices and send signals to your brain whether you're hungry or full. And these also get their wires crossed by all the man-made foods and animal foods. Is this striking a nerve in anybody? Is anybody like, oh my God, I had no idea that that's what artificial sugars and oils are doing to me? Let me check in on the comments here. I got lots of things going on. Yvette says, my tastes have changed for fruit and vegetables. That's wonderful. Fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans. That's a plant-based diet. Let's see what else. Okay. Cheryl has heartburn. If you're eating animals and junk foods, you're gonna have heartburn. Dawn says, after going whole food plant-based, I stopped having heartburn. I used to have it every day on the standard American diet. I used to take meds every day. No more. That's what we want to say. That's the healing. That's what happens. Thank you, Dawn, for sharing that. Hooray for Dawn. Cheryl says, I know, I'm backsliding to vegan junk, and your body is telling you that's the message. Susan says she craves quinoa with raw veggies and peanut dressing. Heck yes. Lichelle says, I have noticed recently that when I eat cabbage raw, I have no stomach issues, but when I cook it, it produces bloating and a lot of gas. So you eat it the way it feels good for you. Don't cook cabbage if it doesn't feel good. Okay, that's another thing I'm gonna say. If you're doing something and it doesn't feel good, like let's say you're eating a pound of vegetables in the morning because that's what Chef AJ does, and you're miserable because your stomach does not like that, well, then you need to be like willing to change it. So Michelle, if it hurts your stomach to eat cooked cabbage, then for God's sakes, just don't eat it like that, okay? All right? That's wonderful. Cabbage raw is better anyway. All right. Cheryl says, vegan junk food, no meat or dairy, but not whole food plant-based, which is why I bring up the vegan junk food, because this group is filled with all types of women just like that. Okay. So let's move down into the intestines, shall we? Type in the word intestines if you want to see what's going on in there. All right, so into the intestines. First, the small intestine, and then the large intestine. And this is where the journey splits, okay? in the small intestine, the muscles of the small intestine mix the food with all the digestive juices from the pancreas, the liver, and the intestines, and they push the mixture forward. And this is where the walls of the small intestine absorb water and the digestive nutrients absorb out. So it brings in water and it pushes out the nutrients, okay? And it goes into your circulatory system and it passes it all throughout your body that way. Other parts of your body to use or to store, okay? So special cells help absorb nutrients, cross the intestinal lining into your bloodstream, and this is where the carcinogens from the animal proteins and other food chemicals and toxic metabolic compounds wreak their havoc. Your blood carries simple sugars, amino acids, vitamins, and salts to the liver. Now imagine, if you will, that there weren't any vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fluids, or fiber in any of that because you eat a junk food, fast food, animal food diet. Okay? In a diet like that, if you don't eat any plant foods, which is what most junk food is not, you will have, because in animal foods there are no vitamins, no antioxidants, no fluids, and no fiber. Okay? Realize that. So you're not eating any of those good things that heal and build a body up. All you ate was oil, fat, salt, sugar, and cholesterol. Okay? If you are vegan completely and you eat a vegan fast food, junk food diet, then you didn't eat cholesterol, but you ate all that other shit. Oil, fat, sugar, and salt. Your liver stores, processes, and delivers the nutrients to the rest of your body when it's needed, and it is a filter of sorts, and a lot of the garbage gets stuck in your liver, and it's one of the cornerstones of your immune system that way. And it turns into a toxic sludge as it tries to figure out what to do with all that crap that you ate. And cancer cells get turned on there when the liver is overloaded that way. Wherever you have weakness in the body and carcinogens are flowing through those parts, that's where they can stop and multiply. And if you're eating animal products and food chemicals every day, you're just ingesting carcinogens with every single bite. Animal protein is a carcinogen. They found in the research they can turn on and turn off cancer cells just by increasing the amount of animal protein in the diet. That's a fact, okay? So as these carcinogens and toxins get circulated throughout your body, they stop and they multiply wherever there's a weakness in the body. So let's see where they go next, okay? Got a big sun coming in here. Wow. Look, I'm in a sun ray. That feels kind of magical, doesn't it? Okay, so blood vessels. They're going through the bloodstream, right? This is where the macronutrients and micronutrients, so the macronutrients are fat, carbohydrates, and protein, and the micronutrients are all the different vitamins and minerals. This is where the macronutrients and micronutrients circulating in your blood make such a huge difference. So those of you with high blood pressure and high cholesterol, listen up, I'm talking to you. Having a high amount of those HDLs, high density lipoproteins that your doctor is talking to you about on your cholesterol test, and all fats in general, which is what high cholesterol means. It is a measure of the different types of fats in your blood, like high density lipoproteins, low density lipoproteins, triglycerides, all of that blah, blah, blah can be reduced to your total cholesterol number, which is the measure of all the different types of fats in your blood. If yours is high, that means you have those little fat particles circulating in your blood more than is normal or recommended or is healthy. Okay, so here's what happens. In your blood, these sticky, tiny particles get stuck on the artery walls and they build up into plaques and they inflame your artery walls, making them stiff and narrow. And this is what increases the blood pressure. Your heart has to pump harder to get the blood through the stiffer, smaller blood vessels. And this is also how the blood vessels rupture. And what does a rupture mean? Around the heart, it's a heart attack. When this happens in the brain, it's a stroke. Okay? So this buildup is what's happening in people who do keto diets, even when they experience weight loss or they have a good effect from it in the first couple of months or whatever. This is what's happening on the inside, even when they experience weight loss. Over the long term, there is this buildup of fat and cholesterol in the arteries, and that's why these diets, these keto animal fat diets, are never prescribed as a long-term solution to anything, why they are not tested long-term and why they are not sustainable. Did any of this give any aha moments to anybody here? Let me know what it is, okay? On the other hand, reducing all these fats and harmful compounds in the blood and increasing the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants in the blood helps make the vessels flexible and reduces the blood pressure and helps sweep the fats out of the arteries. So they did a study where participants consumed a small bowl of nitrate-rich vegetables. So it wasn't like 10 pounds of it. It was like a small, regular bowl. And when I say nitrate-rich vegetables, I'm talking about romaine lettuce, spinach, and arugula, which are things that I know you guys in this group are eating every day for lunch for a week. And it lowered both their systolic and diastolic blood pressure every single day, and it stayed that way for the rest of the day. This is what's happening when you use food to heal yourself from the inside and reverse the signs and symptoms and risk factors of heart disease. And when you do it this way every day, you reverse the condition. You reverse the blockages, you reverse the high blood pressure, you reverse the high cholesterol. Your body sweeps it out of your body. You never need those medications because you have removed the cause of the problem. Is this giving you any aha moments? Let me know. All right, so that's the arteries. That's what's happening. Let's see what everybody's saying. Intestines, you wanted to go on a journey. I hope you enjoyed it. We're not done. We still have to go to the large intestine later. All right. Deb says, that blows my mind. The plate of nitrates versus the nitrate medication. No side effects with food. It's amazing. Yes, Deb, this is so you. This is so you. She's on week 1 in my program. Diet Rebel started last week. I'm so pumped. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about Deb in the coming weeks. All right, let's find out what's going on in the cells. What's going on in there? Okay, we know what's going on in the arteries. What's going on in the cells? As this more anti-inflammatory blood, the plant-based blood, is very anti-inflammatory, and it's loaded with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. That's what anti-inflammatory means. It sweeps away waste, it sweeps away metabolic byproducts, and it helps cells renew, okay? So what it's doing is it's sweeping away the fat instead of depositing the fat. Now, when you eat a high-fat plant-based diet or a high-fat, high-oil vegan junk food diet, you are depositing fat in your cells. Now, when you're overweight in your stomach area specifically, it's called visceral fat. When you have fat that is all, around the middle, a spare tire, as it were, it means your cells are storing fat there in a place that is not meant to store fat. These cells surround your most precious organs, your heart, your liver, your lungs, your stomach, your pancreas, your gallbladder, right? And they're all surrounded with fat. When you have fat here, they're all surrounded by fat. This is how you get a fatty liver and an inflamed gallbladder. Okay, so fatty liver, you're like, oh, what's a fatty liver? It's a liver stuffed with fat, okay? But even more, this is what causes type 2 diabetes, because now your cells are all gummed up with fat. They're not sensitive to the insulin secreted by your pancreas to help control the release of sugar in your blood from your food and to help your cells open up and use the energy from the glucose in your food. This is what insulin resistant means. It means the cells are resistant to the insulin. It doesn't work. And this is how blood glucose rises, and this is what is causing your prediabetes and your type 2 diabetes. It's because your cells cannot use the insulin to open the cell, to use the glucose for energy the way it is simply meant to do. The door to the cell is shut tight and locked with sticky fat. No key can get in there. The anti-inflammatory nature of the whole food plant-based blood is that it sweeps away this sticky fat so that cells function normally and blood glucose levels regulate and normalize. Now this happens so fast, and I know this from working with insulin-dependent diabetics that I've worked with, and also the scientific data has proven this out, that blood glucose drops often in one day and insulin dosage needs to be adjusted down almost immediately. So that's the power of healing your cells and your insulin resistant using food this way. And this is how you're harming your cells with animal foods and junk foods. Does this make sense? Let me know if this makes sense. So this is what's happening. This is what's happening when you are reversing diabetes this way. You are sweeping out the fat, you're losing the weight, and your body is able to regulate the release of the insulin so that glucose can be used by the cells and your blood glucose levels come down naturally and you never need to worry about it again. Okay? All right. In addition, when you eat animals and animal foods, you're also ingesting way more animal protein and way more fat and cholesterol than any human needs, as well as way more than the normal amount of sex hormones that you should have, because you're eating the animals' sex hormones that's circulating in their blood. So, check this out. Think about the amount of sex hormones in a pregnant female cow, and think about the amount of calories, protein, and fat it takes to grow a baby cow into a 5-ton animal in just a few months. That is way more than any human needs. And this is why no human should be drinking cow milk or dairy products of any kind. Is this getting through? Like, is this saying it in a different way that you can see? Like, can you imagine that when I say it this way? And the problem is that these animal proteins are carcinogenic to us. They cause cancer. We have proven that animal proteins turns cancer cells on, and not eating animal proteins turns cancer cells off. This is a fact in the medical literature. Okay? So here's what happens. Those animal proteins, those carcinogenic animal proteins, are circulating throughout your bloodstream, and any place you have a weakness in the body, these cells can be turned on. They can be turned on. So if you're weak in your stomach and you have ulcers, stomach cancer, if it goes up into your, well, I'll talk about that later. We'll talk about the cancer later in another time. But that's what's happening. Something else is also happening in the cells of women. And I bet you didn't know this. Let me know if you knew this. Let me know if this is blowing your mind. Lisa says, that's a gross thought, never crossed my mind. Well, I'm here to gross you out so that these thoughts come up into your mind and help you change, okay? All right. Something else is happening in the cells of women who are overweight and obese, even 10 pounds overweight, any amount overweight, where you can feel fat on you, that's overweight, okay? And here's what happens. Fat cells actually produce estrogen. which is a main driver of reproductive cancers in women, such as breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and uterine cancer. And I'm a breast cancer survivor, so I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to eat that, right? And same with alcohol. Studies have shown, there is a giant study they did with, I think, 67,000 people that studied alcohol's path throughout the body. That's how I got the idea to do this live stream. It causes cancer in the 8 places it touches as it moves through the human body. Is that the craziest thing? Anywhere where you have a weakness, it turns on cancer cells. So that's not something a cancer survivor can be drinking. Shouldn't be eating. Okay? So let me know if your mind is blown. Sherry says this is blowing my mind. Zofia says you're always so inspiring in such a gross way, right? Okay, let's move on. Diane is learning so much. There's more. Okay, brain. Well, you probably don't realize this. Nobody talks about this, but I am very vegan for the animals, so I'm about to talk about it. When you ingest animals and animal foods, you are also ingesting their stress hormones that are flooding their flesh when they die or are being abused. So when they die, these hormones are related to the terror, intense pain, despair, and sadness. And it's the same in the egg and dairy industries. So you vegetarians, listen up. These animals are abused, they're in intense pain, they're in despair. The calves are being taken from the mother cows. The mother cows move forever for their baby. They are raped repeatedly, forced to stand there with machines stuck to them. They are in intense pain, despair, sadness, and when they're next in line for slaughter, right? The chickens, when they're all animals, when they're next in line for slaughter, they are in intense pain, despair, terror, and sadness. And these stress hormones are flooding their body as they're trying to get away and crying and screaming. Okay, that's what's going on in the slaughterhouse. And that's what's happening with the animal foods. But if you're vegan, there are so many other toxic metabolic compounds and food chemicals that are neurotoxins, and these are substances that alter the normal activity of your nervous system and your brain. And in junk foods, in addition to the oil, salt, sugar, this affects our brain's ability to compute, to feel, to regulate our body and our thoughts and our day and our stress. So we have trouble sleeping, we have trouble feeling good, we have trouble feeling happy, we have trouble handling stress, and we don't know why. This is more prevalent in animal food eaters because of these stress hormones on top of all the junk food, and they just don't know why. Now, this is also why people on keto diets have so much brain fog and are in such bad moods. In addition, there's more. Glucose is your brain's and your muscles' natural energy source, right? They don't purposely choose to get energy from fats or protein. That's not what fats and protein do. Ketosis is an unnatural process that you're forcing your body to do. You're forcing it to use fats. Well, the brain doesn't work well on fats, and this is why without carbohydrates, people on keto diets are in the worst mood, and they literally say they have brain fog and they struggle to think straight. So it's the exact opposite with the anti-inflammatory effects of the whole plant foods, of which nearly all, except the nuts and seeds, are unrefined carbohydrates. Fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans are all carbohydrates, and they are loaded with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals, fluids, okay? And fiber, removing free radicals, removing wastes, strengthening all your body systems, and calming everything down and healing. And what it all boils down to is that my clients will say, wow, I'm just feeling so much calmer. feeling so much better. I'm able to handle my stress. That's the power of this. Deb says, people end up eating animal stress hormones? Yes, cortisol, yes. All the stress hormones and the sex hormones, all of it. So that's what's going on, like, in your heart and your mind is just, all. Yeah, I was going to use a curse word, but I won't for all the gentle listeners. Okay, so what's happening in your muscles and your joints? All of those of you with chronic pain and arthritis and all of this and that, the same metabolic compounds build up in muscles and joints, causing pain, stiffness, arthritis, and this in turn, it's very insidious because it causes lower activity levels, and then you have more pain and stiffness, and it just spirals downward. Okay, also causing like dry, brittle hair, ridges in your nails, acne, and dull skin and all that. So when you're eating that anti-inflammatory diet, it helps sweep away those toxic metabolic compounds and all of the goodness that's happening on the inside of your body, all that healing, it just moves outward through your hair, your skin, and your nails. And that's why they call it that vegan glow. And the more whole food, plant-based, no oil, especially if you're overweight, the more whole food, plant-based you can be as a vegan, the more you will be realizing your vegan superpowers. Okay, that's what I want to tell you. You're doing the best thing for the animals, but you also need to do the best thing for you. Okay? So these animal foods and junk foods, they either go throughout your body destroying everything as it goes, or healing everything as it goes through your body. So now let's finish the cycle, okay? After all of that has happened, everything was used by your body, and then whatever was not able to be used, the waste moves into your large intestine, where colon cancer happens. So now do you understand why colon cancer happens? What's causing colon cancer? Okay? So it continues pushing the waste products through the digestive process into the large intestine, and this includes undigested parts of food, fluids, old cells from the lining, and all of that toxic sludge. The large intestine absorbs water and changes the waste from liquid into stool, and it moves it down to your rectum. Okay, so now there's that whole thing about the bacteria. Okay, so in the large intestine, you feed the good bacteria or the bad bacteria by the mixture that ends up there. And these helpful bacteria produce valuable vitamins that are absorbed into your blood, and they help you digest and further break down fiber, and the waste moves out through your colon, taking everything with it. Okay? Depending on that bacteria, if it's bad bacteria and it can't break down all the stuff and you have a toxic sludge sitting there, that's the difference between having regular diarrhea and constipation and gas, or having healthy, regular bowel movements. So, let me know your biggest aha moment from today's live stream. I try to teach you things that you may not have heard before, or that you may not have heard exactly in that way. And I'm here to empower you. I can't wait to start working with my newest Diet Rebels who are in the Thursday and Wednesday groups. And you'll be hearing lots more from them. If any of you missed that deadline, or you want to reach out and talk to me about working with me, about joining one of my groups and programs, definitely type into the comments Diet Rebel so I can pick you out immediately and contact you in Facebook Messenger, and we can have a talk about this. All right, so let's hear what some people are saying. Aha moment, the biggest takeaway from today that you learned, never heard before, didn't realize. Yvette says, animals in distress, passing this to us. Oh, yes. And the fact that nobody is telling you this is really important. It's one of the cornerstones for anxiety and depression. So if you struggle with anxiety and depression, one of the #1 best treatments that you can do for yourself that has nothing to do with your medications is the whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating and losing weight and starting to heal yourself that way and then seeing how you feel. Okay? That's very, very true. Martha says, can we listen again? Yes, the replay video is always in the timeline. And tomorrow I will make a post where I will, send the live stream replay to your Facebook Messenger for those of you who want me to do that. And so you can always listen to it again. Yes. Yes. Carrie says, didn't realize alcohol causes cancer in every system it touches. Yeah. When I heard that, my mind was blown and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot be drinking that. And I remember the integrative oncologist said to me, no amount of alcohol is safe for cancer survivors. No amount of alcohol is safe. So Deborah says, food affects flexibility of arteries. Thought they just block the arteries. No, the opposite. Whole food, plant-based, anti-inflammatory foods, they clear the arteries and they make them more flexible. Exactly, you got it. That is a great takeaway. All right, so that's it for today's live stream. I look forward to this every week. Maybe next week we'll do a Q&A of some kind. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week and get started on your whole food, plant-based journey in any way that you can. Mwah.